And we're definitely not
Atin ang Miramar kahit anong mangyari paglalaban natin ng patayan to. Marami na akong mga bagong sinasanay ngayon sa pikado na mga warrior sa PUBG Mobile. PH scene. Inaantay ko na lang silang may kumuwang mga team sa kanila. Marami na akong sinasanay. Ay, umabol si Dixie oh. Talaga na lang oh. Magugulat ko. Wala pa si Martin sa MVP.
Of the evolution of PUBG Mobile esports, because let's be fair, PUBG Mobile esports is still only in its infancy, right? You know, it's only
Matapang ka, magpegado ka.
And we're seeing a consistent evolution, growth,
Di atrasan ng mga viewer ko yan.
so many teams around the world, and for their stories to be told.
Atin ang Miramar.
That they've done to
BTR
get to the
pegado.
points in their career. When
Isa yung
you're
Blacklist.
heading into
Tuma?
an upcoming PMGC with a 6
Tuma Blacklist tol.
million
Kasama Yabit. Kasama Yabit. Ito na.
My God, all these teams.
3 point yan. 3 point.
For the spotlight.
3 point.
For the limelight. So I'm so looking forward to seeing the Xavier in the future.
I'm disappointed in Pyramid. You didn't put your pinky to your mouth and said $6 million. Come on.
Ilan ang Blacklist? Pang-sub tayo. Pang-sub tayo. 6 point. Ilan lamang?
No, I did not.
Top 7. 5 points lang laman ha. Lamang.
There's
Nung
no
pang-pito.
explanation behind it. You need to back it up.
11 points sa pang-anim.
Nah.
Kaya.
You'll do it another time.
Kaya yan.
Nah, too late.
Tangina mong sound ka, nakakalimutan ko mag-sound jutsu!
Valdez, Navigo, so solid up to the top. Where does your attention drift now?
Tangina talagang Santorirom!
They can maybe breach top 5 in the last minute and maybe overtake the likes of BTR that are currently in that 5th spot. Are there teams that you're like, at the end, hey, they could just cross the finish line at the very end?
Yeah, 110%, because at least when you're looking from 6th to
Wala.
13th,
Ayan na!
there's only
Ito na.
15
Apa?
points dividing
Ano
those
yun?
teams. And then
Paano
when
nangyari yun?
we are into the mix in 5th, that's an extra 3 points. So that's 18 points.
Umupos na yung
dividing
mitts.
so
Tangina,
many
bilis ng
teams.
pressure
So yes,
galing sa mga
as
kalaban
much as
natin.
I'm focusing to see if
Ayan na si Alas! Ayan pa! Pagsaksyon ko Alas! Ayan pa! Pagsabay mo yan, tol!
maybe one of
Palata mo sila Alas! Dalawa! Puta
the
na!
fight for the top
Okay, hindi pa
five
knockdown yung isa.
place
Hindi pa knockdown yung isa.
is there.
Pinipressure kaya kailangan ng problem na sa gilid! Let's go! Blacklist International! Kansarin mo sila! Pagtatrastokin mo, tol! Sige! Tuson! Uwi! Uwi mga bet! Taka naisip por kila yung sinasabi ko! Nakamasin ka na sa Tyra, tol! Yan yung sinasabi ko! Uwi! Uwi ang mitts! Back to lobby!
Blacklist confidence
Tong
going into
na-appreciate kong ginawa ni Alas doon!
final game because they're a team not known to
Eto na simula!
either looking for fights or necessarily the
Oras na!
in their fights
Atin na
unless they
Miramar!
are in the absolute late stages
Atin na
of the game
Miramar!
in a controlling position. So it's early
Na-appreciate ko yung ginawa ni Alas doon! Tinangkin ni Alas yun!
in 9th place, only 11
Oras
points
na!
behind DS in 6th. Come on, you know, build it up. Being so proud of what this team has been able to show us in the game so far across these 4 days.
Tuloy-tuloy lang, tuloy-tuloy lang.
On a big note,
Papasok tayo ng top 6 ngayon.
shows what you got,
Babalik tayo sa top 6.
Fight against Myth, as much as Myth has struggled, does show that Blacklist can win team fights.
Utang ina, buti nakabackup kagad sila. Kinabahan ako doon. Oo.
Where you would start off the game of Miramar with 4 players still remaining and you got 4 kills, eliminating the team.
Huwag kayo sasabay sa Chumasera. Amin ang Chumasera.
International, so big heads up. You said Blacklist International, one team you're interested by.
Pagtatampalin namin, pagsisisipay namin yung sasabay dyan.
I remember back in PMGC, the only...
Ay, saan kay Danica, pabati naman po ako sa kapatid kong si Kim. Bajar. From Danica, thank you po sa 100 star, Danica. Salamat.
After them quite a bit. We were like, okay, this team is too stubborn. I'm hoping not... I'm hoping all the teams in South Korea play like that, because it wouldn't make a lot of sense. But it goes to show that it seems like the South Korean meta has changed quite a bit, and I think also DS Gaming has also taken home a lot of this experience and knowledge that they gathered from this event back in their own home region. I think South Korea could be a big surprise hitting the PMGC if we have
Note muna.
going up there, because hey, they're impressing me. They're literally just 3 points behind BTR in 5th place. They could snatch away a 5th place at the very end, just above BTR if they perform well. So yeah, GS Gaming is the team personally that I'm going to try and look forward to seeing if they can perform well in these last 2 games.
getting back into this game. The phase 1 circle is quite heavily on the east now. Look,
Di na natin kaya ng habulin ng top 3 in natin top 5.
Early, but like, it could be an island finish. I've done it. I don't care. I'm sticking to it. It could be an island finish, but as far as teams now rotating as the blue zone is starting to close in, Navi actually went for a campo.
Mag-ingay mga taga-barangay Chumasera.
Either that or they dropped in the
Salamat, Dio. Salamat sa 35.
Dropped in Campo Militar. So
maganda start.
a little bit away from the circle, Dave.
Atin ang Miramar, nalaban natin ang patayan to.
They have a really solid entry point into a really strong high ground position just to the south of them outside Junkyard.
Sa wakas, nabigyan din tayo ng magandang highlights.
But they are still, I believe, too close inside Impala despite the circle on phase 1 being quite heavily on the east. I8, although they dropped in Los Leones with A1 and I believe the Xavier,
they've all kind of
respected each other and moved
Sabi
away
ni
on
Greg,
their
kaya nga wala pang 2 minutes sa room. Hindi pa yata nakaka 2 minutes. Wala na, back to lobby na.
Hopefully the map feed will pop up eventually soon. Reject, I just want to point this out, they once again going for a very
Ganda
big
ng abang ni Alas din. Ang ganda ng abang ni Alas eh. Lockdown si Ions eh. Sinugod si Ions, Kogo.
It's too big, and that's one issue that happens with Reject so often is being spread.
Mark, salamat sa follow, Mark.
Don't get me wrong, I do it myself when I'm playing my own games and I'm playing with teammates in voice chat. It's okay because you've got one player scouting, the rest of the team following behind, and if you've got multiple cards, making sure that if one player goes down, the team can still move
simulan
forward.
natin eh.
But Reject do it at such a way that
natin ngayon,
because they're so far away from each other, sometimes you'll see a team just pop in the middle of the spread, and then, well, they're so far away from each other, if one player gets knocked, then you can't assist each other, and you just lost one player for almost no reason, and there's no way of bringing him back into the game unless you win the fight. That's one issue I have. The spreads of Reject make sense, but they just push it to such an extreme that teams just are like in the middle, like, well, wait, what's this? Are these two teams or is this one team? And they just win the fight after.
Yeah.
I think they've also kind of proven, or they haven't proven that
nice move, Miracle. Nice move, Miracle. Ay, gago, meron sa likod. Sa gilid.
6-9 boy is there for the taking, and he's gonna grab that kill.
Well, M16, unfortunately, is not a weapon that does miracles for you, Miracle. Well, feels bad, man. That is not a clutch weapon. And should have stayed a little bit more scoped in, I would say. Maybe would have had a better chance to get the double, but doesn't quite go his way. That's going to be Miracle out for NASA. NASA did get a strong game last time. They got himself a second place.
Yeah.
But they took it really slow, and we like it. That's what we like to see, because NASA, main issue we had, them being a little bit too spread,
mga teams.
like Reject, but they started working on that a little
Ganda
bit more.
start natin, may 4 points kagad.
Pretty well for the last few games
Sana
now.
magtuloy-tuloy.
So, seeing more of NASA actually trying to play as a team.
Sana
Because when you have
magtuloy-tuloy.
a player far away like that, like Miracle, well, there's can't do much because you're playing with some of the best teams in the world. You're solo. The chance of you taking a 1v4, unless you're called Martin, well, it's not going to happen.
I love this from Zuxi. Just a little thing like blowing up a couple of tires from vehicle that's in the compound down below. It slows down your opponents. It's 8-1. It's really positive.
Salamat sa 45. Salamat po, salamat.
What do you mean you hate
It
it?
happens to me all the time. I'm in game, you know, I'm chilling, and I'm going to take a car. All the 4 wheels are popped. I'm like, come on. Gotta ruin my games.
Masundan tong mga to.
Do you want a hook? Do you want a hook?
Actually, that would be really nice, but from Jason,
Netflix
not
pa
from
yung
you.
mga
Sorry.
Godzilla nila, yung mga King Kong pala yung King Kong.
Okay,
Eh, Blacklist,
Sorry, tough out. Tsundere over here.
Blacklist parang nakakaba. Tignan nyo, gilid na gilid. No,
Navi's got to be a little bit careful. Yeah, like Esport
Kinakabahan ng Blacklist,
taking
tol.
their wheels later on, so
napagdadali kasi sila habang pumapasok ng sun eh. Eh, pangsyam na tayo, overall oh. Overall, pangsyam na oh.
Go down. A little of water still in play, not going to be too hard. Los Leones though. I'm looking at the position up north of Los Leones is amazing.
Dapat pang walo yun, bakit pang nakalagay doon?
A little bit further away. Blacklist International are rotating
Sila lang
late from
lamang
that
ng papito.
position, so I think Blacklist, if they scout and approach this position properly, they could have one of the best oversight positions of
Dapat
this
medyo
entire game
pumasok pa sila eh.
to actually get that intel that they
Nag-iba sila
desperately
ng
need.
gameplay ito, napag-aambus kasi sila pagpasok ng sun
I
eh.
believe a little bit of a 2-2 split. Upon this circle popping up, they're joining up as a full squad, so great reaction coming out from them. Yes, A1 did go a little bit further than an optimal position that you quite correctly pointed out, but they are still in the center of this phase 2. We're seeing a massive cluster of teams inside the circle already, with teams still rotating, so we could see a few players being picked off. Maybe not full squads wiped out, but a few players picked off just like that as DS look to get closer
Nako, patay kang
to the
sus ka.
5th place. A knock on the Zio. Satan
Zio.
rocks it up.
That right there is where you pop the wheels of your vehicle to make sure you can't get shot underneath it. I see.
BTR,
wow.
Headshot. Woo!
Bumabar na rin yung
we're
BTR.
out right now. They want to pick everything out. And Zeus can't really afford to die now, right? Like, if they do, that's Zeus maybe giving their spot away to BTR.
And I love what they
Nakiyas
said
ba ng
about
BTR
Zeus
yun?
on the desk as well. They are
May
not
patay-
playing
may
with
patay na nga,
any
silap
flair
si.
this final day.
Let's go,
Right?
Black!
Or
Salamat
even
sila,
throughout
Las!
this
Salamat
whole
po sa
tournament,
15 sila!
I'm not saying they played with
Salamat,
fear, but they
salamat.
haven't played with the level of flair we've seen
Naubos
from
po
the
nila Mitz, yes, naubos sa Mitz.
PL and possibly
Tusok sila sa
the
Blacklist.
NTC
Si
as
Claire,
well.
dalawang kill ka agad, oh.
Dominating, somewhat bullying.
Salang pala
playstyle.
kill niya, Las, doon.
You know,
Dalawa
not
pala
being
kay Claire
able to
yun.
get away with a, so to speak, a bullying playstyle in this kind of lobby. But, you know, compared to the likes of Navi, there are no way trying to make these games their own. It's like
Nasa
they're
na
going,
zone?
please, can we have a position in a circle, please? We come in peace.
And it goes to
And
Valdez.
that just, yeah, and it goes to Valdez, or they get punished on their rotation in. And they really
Iba
need
na
to
targetan
rethink
ngayon eh, no? Sasakyan na
coming into
pinapasabog
future
talaga
tournaments,
ngayon
'cause
eh.
it's not gonna get any
Pag may
easier.
mga nakakitang sakyan niya,
Yeah, gotta try
pinapasabog
and make
ka
sure
agad
you
eh.
take a little bit more control. You're proactive on your approach to these games. And
Bien Vincent, salamat sa
I've been seeing some
75!
evolution on that side.
Thank you po sa mga nag-send na star.
Navi
Salamat
going
po
for
support.
sneaky wraparound. They saw Yala, they got the intel, so that's great. And now they are aware of the situation around them. It seemed like Yala are trying to chase it down a little bit. It seemed like both Loka and Bandar have a game plan in mind. But Navi are just going so wide. They're also on the main road because the terrain's not really easy to maneuver around. So that's going to take a little bit more time for Yala to get in a prime position. So that's making that position of Navi actually relatively easy to pull off. So I'm okay with Navi and how they're making that work. But Yala's got to be careful because Geek Fam
Closing pa rin.
slowly but surely closing that gap. And they could get right behind Yala inside the circle.
And that's where I start to kind of get a little bit worried about Yala's consistency upon how they try to have these big 2-2 splits. Even if it's just rotating into the circle on phase 1 or phase 2, they
Ang
tend to
layo
try
ng Blacklist sa ilalim mo.
one too
Bagay
many
safe sila eh.
times.
Sana umilalim na zone.
Kind of,
Medyo nag-iba ng
rotation
gameplay ang Blacklist ano.
isn't jack of
Nag-play
all
safe sila
trades.
lalo.
It
Pero
is,
okay
for
lang.
the most
Sige.
part, pretty
lang yan.
situational. When it works out,
Hindi ako
by
sanay
God,
ng
it works
ganito
out really
gameplay ng
well for
Blacklist
Yala,
eh.
but when it doesn't work
Ayan.
out, they get punished.
Safe pa rin sila. Safe pa rin sila. Okay lang, okay lang. Okay lang, wala. Kita nyo, safe yung papasukan natin. Makuha natin yung dyan. Malaking bagay yan.
Pretty much like 90% of loss.
Pwede natin makalaban, BTR, DRS.
It does allow very, very, very open field areas in towards the central part of the circle. So it does eliminate some tough areas for teams to, sorry,
okay lang.
good areas for teams to kind of position themselves if they're not
Walang
already
kalaban sa
there.
papasukan. Okay lang.
Very polar opposites kind of terrain you're dealing with here.
Na, talaga nag-aabot tayo, Son. Bakit talaga maliit yung chance natin makakuha na, Son? Nasa gilid tayo eh. Pero okay lang yan.
Good oversight, but now you've got to question yourself. What do we want to commit to? Do we commit to the high ground or do we start going into the field, look for compounds and make some makeshift compounds?
Sabog ka.
That could work out fine.
Tangina,
It's not going to
nabi
work
na
out
naman.
for Luka because he had nothing to play with there. Straight up, he's going to be one of the early casualties in the fields as Na'Vi play it for themselves. As Mega's going down, but you should be aware that was a knock. There could be another player around. He just crashes his way forward. Luckily, he does not lose his life in the process. And he gets joined up by Matic too, man.
Grabe
Mega
mga
and Matic
Na'Vi
is the deadly duo. I love
Nakapwesto na
seeing
yung
them
mga
play together.
bumabaril sa kanila. Sila pa nadadali.
My point is proven because even though Navi had a bit of a split, that split is enough that
Oh,
they're
yan.
able to
Pakislapin
join
mo.
up and support each other.
Pakislapin
Yeah,
mo.
they lose another player correctly off a team that you mentioned, Geek Fam, and now they're left with one. Ironically enough, it's Ida. Normally he's the first to go down, but he's last player standing. But with Kitsune,
Yala, nag-grenade pa. Out,
Boom,
Yala.
job done. Yala are out in first. I saw it. The writing was on the wall with how they were rotating into these circles.
Well. Look how the turntables seem like
Bababa
Yala
placing
thought
na
they were in
Yala.
control, but no, it was Geek Fam all
Bababa
along. They
placing
were
na
the
Yala from
sneaky
top
anime-
7. Bababa yan. Sana, mga tong Blacklist.
main guy that just actually was shown to be nice at the first episode, but
Okay.
at the end he's the big plot twist and he actually ends up being evil. Well, that was Geek Fam right there. And Na'Vi just like, well, now we know Geek Fam's there because they just took care of the last few players of Yala and they just boom, instantly wrap around the eastern side and we'll try and find an entry point through there. I love Geek Fam. They're just so proactive. They see the opportunity. They try and set themselves up beforehand too, which is why I love this team so much on how they play around their macro mechanics. So really good setup from them. Picked up a few kills, but
I tell you-
You're
Ito
taking
na
a
si
lot of
Malas.
time as Na'Vi could set up a little bit of a Well, the gatekeeper later on.
Sabog. Baba, lipat na.
Gets out in time.
Lipat na.
Drop damage there,
Taka naman
but
pa
the rest
sumabog.
of the team could easily pick him up.
I tell you whose rotation I love is DS, because with Lavadita being on the northwestern edge of the circle, it does open up for that crater to be occupied by a team, because you can peek up and down the ridge side, and it has a much higher elevated position onto the likes of Nasser down below, Valdez a little bit to the south, and you can see
naku, yung rotation ng Blacklist tol, mas crowded yung papasukan nila. Oh my God.
Because they're setting up for potential circle shift in a
Hindi ako
different
sanay na
direction.
naluluto
Ready
Blacklist
to
sa
react.
zona.
But as it happens, it does
Ay!
center up once again when
Tang
Nasser and
inang
A1
talaga,
having two of the really only core compounds in play with Valdez's
Wala.
just on the
Maghahabol
edge.
tayo zone.
Mafia and Ninja, they lose, he gets taken down.
Oh, DRS
Yan natin ha.
send it to
Kailangan
automatic
makabawi tayo sa
zombies,
kill.
but get nothing for that except a big
Kailangan
fail.
may isang mag-healing sa kanila.
BTR, I love their oversight
Ayun
position
ang
too.
feeling ko
And
na wala
Valdez
sa Blacklist,
mentioned on the
walang
edge. I think
naiiwan,
that
kaya
if
nawawipe
they
sila
play their
lahat
cards
eh.
correctly, they could transition and transfer that into a lot of kills, so that's big. Nice nades onto AJ.
natin
Second
gagawin
nade
nila
might
ngayon.
just be the hole-in-one they need. Right behind AJ, and it's an absolute banger from Mexico. Well, Hunkerfire still in the distance, trying to get as much intel as possible. We're going to try and confirm that kill. They don't know, is it just AJ? Is there another player?
Oh my
Day
Better off
1, day 1, day 2,
making sure we
okay pa,
confirm that
pinapanigan
kill, so
tayo.
that's
Hindi
AJ
man
out the game.
lahat ng
DRS,
round.
yeah,
Pero
got
may
a
isa,
little bit too
dalawang
close,
round na
to
binubuenos
win,
tayo
and
sa
unfortunately
zone.
burnt themselves severely.
Ngayon, kahapon,
Edge
day
doesn't even
3, talaga lahat,
standing.
wala.
He moved away, but he's going into the open, loving arms of
Mahabol tayo
Blacklist,
son
so
eh.
out of the fire pit and into the fire.
Yan na.
DS
Yan na.
can still hold on to the
Trigil na yan, Nima na yan. Let's go, last round mo to, last.
within the strength as
Tyra, alas, oh.
previous phase.
Okay, Ion,
With the blue
Claire.
zone hitting the
Iniwan
floor,
na si
Nima is
Nima.
gonna take a chunk of
Oh,
damage.
tinumo si Tyra.
Blacklist
Ay,
are
nakdong kay
avoiding
Tyra.
the team, making
Nice,
a call
oh.
out. Another
Nice,
kill for
oh.
Blacklist.
Headshot ni
They're
Tyra yun.
fighting
Iniwan na
already,
nila.
but they do have to enter the circle, and they're gonna go up
Nice,
against
oh.
the Pakistani
5
team
kill
that
na.
definitely proven their might
5 kill
when it
na.
comes to team fights.
Yeah, but the fact that they lost absolutely no players in these fights and these skirmishes
Dapat
makes it so much easier for them to
pakaliwa
have a
rotate
chance
nila,
and an
mali rotation.
opportunity and a shot to get into the circle. So I think that's a great opportunity for them.
Lalong mapapapunta
I
sila sa mas
got
maraming
something also.
kalaban.
I like this spot, but unfortunately the fact that they have to cross over the road makes this go so hard for them. But Navi,
kailangan
there you go. That's gonna be the
mapitasan
clash
yung
going back
Navi.
and forth. Reject also going for a spread.
Tatamaan natin yung RCO, makakalaban natin yung RCO pag pumasok tayo.
So they got to be both aware. Third party.
Makakalaban ni Claire. Ah, bumalik si Claire.
The horizon.
Bumalik.
Mexico had some banger nades early versus DRS. Can he get some banger nades versus Navi? That's apparently a yes as an answer. They're going to get it done. There's reject on the other side too.
Wala,
They're going to be taking care of the
nagre-revive, hindi
2-2
po push.
spread of Navi.
RC katabi na nila.
This is hard. I don't think the Russian team
Navi
has an easy
RC,
way out of this fight as Tixi gets knocked
Ayun
out.
pa, Blacklist! Tangina, ito na! Party-party na! Ubusin sila! Labang tayo sa position! Nasa ibabaw tayo!
Trying to find a little bit of a
Ay,
hold
binabaril tayo ng mga iwan yata.
to get some extra positioning points. Divine trying to cross over. Get some intel with that third person perspective, but
Si Claire knockdown sa labas! Go, go!
exact
Pagsak din si
location
Alas!
of Meku.
Nice on Duello.
Fnatic Zombies, yeah, they're just going to be leaving. Ooh.
Yeah,
Knockdown
but I
si
really
Claire sa
like
labas.
this reject getting into the thick of the action, using the dip that they have by the side of the road to their advantage. Salam and
Wala na, bigay na si
Mexico
Claire.
looks to
Bigay
reposition
na.
across the way.
Oh,
It's a
nag-grenade si
Blue
Alas
is
na naman,
gonna
oh.
be with them as well. Navi are taking out Miramar, has not been there.
Tangina, sino ba yung mga
Fortitude
gumigrenade na yun?
inside these 4 days, right? They
Mga
came
RC
in
ata yun, ah.
today with an average of roughly about 7
Ay, yun,
points.
snag-grenade din ni RC.
Miramar
Putang ina,
came
pati si Alas,
going
yari.
down in 13
Isa na lang,
places.
Tyra na lang nakatayo.
Kills just
Ayan,
trying to
barilin niya yung mga RC na yan. Ayan yung mga
struggle
nanggigrenade sa amin.
You see,
Oh,
this is
ganyan mga
what
yan.
triggers me. Look at Reject, they're playing
Huwag
together,
yung
they're playing
papusin.
so well. The control
Hindi
from
sila hindi
there.
makapush yung RC yung binabaril sila ng mga FC. Nice Fnatic. Nice Fnatic.
Taking care of Fnatic Zombies, they also taking a
By
fight
time lang,
for
makakapag-revive
for some
kami.
time. Oh no, Blacklist
No,
International it was.
Yeah, yeah.
And even got rid of
Nice
Navi. This is
Fnatic.
what I want to see from the Japanese team of Reject, as now Fnatic Zombies trying to force
Oh,
send it. He's going to have a
Duello.
fight versus Divine. Divine
Oh.
actually gets it. He was down to 50%. He was not
Nice.
supposed to win that. He gets it done. They're still up as a 4-man squad.
Hindi na
And
pinapapasok yung
already 5
RC,
kills to their name. And they got a few more available on the remaining players.
Claire,
of Fnatic
nag-credit na kay
Zombies.
Lapis.
This
Tang-
is the
Lapis ka.
Reject I want to see all
Papaligid
day,
ka pag
every day.
nakita kita dito talaga.
Yeah, but now they're gonna have a bigger mountain to climb.
Nakapag-revive tayo, nakapag-revive. Kailangan natin na smoke.
Shifted to the west,
Tyra,
and guess
bagsak.
what? It's all
Sa iwan,
open.
binabaril na rin
Just
tayo
above
ng
the
iwan, ah.
A-bales
Wala pa rin tayo
in
zone.
for BTR
Wala na.
have the only kind of compound in play towards the high ground, overlooking
BTR zone.
everybody in the fields. A1 will have to move away
Dalawa
from
na lang player
their
natin.
fortitude. DS are gonna wrap around on towards
Healing,
the
healing.
northwestern side, which they'll come
Huwag
across
tayo masyadong
Valdez.
ma-pressure.
So definitely with 10 teams left, 32 players alive, Geek Fam are eliminated, and the Xavier are doing their best to keep themselves up as a 3-man team.
Yeah, Gifam bite the bullet.
Like and share sa mga bago natin guys, like and share. Game 4 to game 4.
Yeah, it's actually, I think he had a mini 14 I saw earlier, and yeah, he's gonna have himself the mini 14, so he's gonna be able to take himself some really good engages.
Okay.
Yeah, Fnatic zombies, they're out. There's some extra kills.
Uy, sara lang, si Lapis na lang boy! Si Lapis na lang boy! Tangina, patayin nyo na yun!
I'm sorry mate, that's gonna be the end for your team.
Patayin nyo na yan! Pre-kill pa, gumagapang yung mga RC. Magpapapatay sa mga blacklist talaga yan.
Zombies, Blacklist International were just able to ruin a lot of their chances. The play zone is gonna be claiming them one by one.
Wala na, si Lapis na lang, healing na lang sa alas.
Stage can't stay in for too long, man. It's phase 5. That one tickles a little bit more to
Tyra, uy, nanak-down yung isang A1 ni Tyra. Eto problema si Lapis, kanina pa nakakanser tong nayupak na
I like the fact that A1 sends Sinister into the circle as some kind of anchor point with 6-9 boy knocked down. It is slowing down their push as the rest of the full squad. One of the Blacklist players gets knocked down by
Bagsak na yung pumasok natin na zone, si Tyra na iwan. Kaya si Tyra, kaklas na yata ni Tyra yung mga iwan. Tignan natin yung pinost na ni Tyra. Hindi na ako papasok na zone, sugal na to.
Of this circle as phase 5 blue zone closes in.
Yeah, Tiro is one of the top players for a few days actually in this World Invitational
Top
event, so
hindi pa tayo pwede mautol, mababa pa placing, wala tayong full sa placing.
We'll see if I'll be able to take down A1
Kailangan
Esports.
pa natin makaangat.
It's a 1-3. Not going to be too easy to pull off. Though the west side, that's the big threat for a lot of these teams.
Ayun, maluwag na sa may bandang 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock.
And even
Pasok na lang, solo lang tayo na.
a relatively big spread, a 2-2 spread right now, trying to put focus on both DS Gaming and also BTR.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's okay, but it's depending on how you execute it, because if you try and take those fights, that 2-2 spread is
Naku,
going to go
namatay na.
actually
Patay ni
heavily against
Dante. Pamasyam
I
tayo.
think it's just not putting all your eggs
3
in
points
one
ba yan? 1
basket,
point?
right?
That's fair, yeah,
You're just
that's
trying to,
okay.
you know, yeah, you're just trying to spread out to find any kind of position, even
Wala
if
eh.
you're left with only 2 players up, and it makes sense. As A1 still trying to hold on, Sinister is inside the circle. PTR have the high ground. The circle does shift in A1's favor as the Xavier are taken out.
Ilang placing yun? Ilang placing points nun?
I think the Xavier died just after. Yeah, they died just after. That's going to be
Yeah.
I think it was a
Parang
7th
round
place
ng A1 to.
for the Xavier.
Sila lang nasa loob, oh.
A 8th place
Hindi
actually
mo lang
going
tayo
away
mabayayaan ng ganyang zone, no?
of Reject. So that's going to be actually a little bit of a...
Ah, Baldos sa BTR! Eto na, magkakaalaman na!
There you go.
Magkakaalaman na!
Gonna push it, no, no,
Atrasan kaya sila ng mga Baldos?
widespread, but seemed like Valdes are
Oh,
trying to
takbo BTR! Inaapol sila ng Baldos, oh! Takbo!
a little bit further back to make sure he can actually pull off that first aid. Seen some big nades happening between both DS Gaming and NASA Esports.
Ah, pumuposition lang kami. Nadable kami dun eh.
Revive. Don't go for the revive, Martin. Allow yourself to try and take that fight. It is being pulled off.
It's fine.
BTR aren't really pushing it.
I think this is fine. Reason why they did a lot of damage onto Liquid, they know that this
Oh,
is... They tried to now
nakakasukat
push
na
back, and I think they heard the footsteps of them trying to leave, so I think that res is actually completely okay for them to do. But what's going to be the game plan after? That's what we're going to check
nakapatay
out.
pa yung
Ante,
Nasser na yan.
what was that?
Nakadalawa po.
Absolutely destroyed the South Korean team of DS Gaming. That's top 4
Nakadalawa
minimum
po.
for NASA. Man, this is consistent for them. Last game is top 2. The
Kumaganda
top 4
na laro
on
ng
this
Nasser,
Melbourne
ah.
game. This is NASA Esports that's truly turned a new leaf, it seems.
Jordanian team showing up on the final day. Found their confidence, found their feet. But can they claim this chicken dinner? It would be their very first one as Valdes are disengaging away. They're like, no, we've wasted too much time. We're having none of it. But is it going to be too little, too late? A1 now going to have to defend their fortitude.
Sabi, umalis sa likod. Patay ka. Ah, taka na, may riding tandem pa sa likod ng puta.
Not much could really do. 4th place for NASA Esports as Valdes.
Top 3.
They're wrecking havoc over here on
BTR,
Miramar.
Baldos.
BTR, A1,
A1.
and Valdes. Top tier teams in PUBG Esports.
Pagkalaban, no?
We're trying to take that fight. And who
Ganda
will be the one
cover
to take the
ng
win, man?
BTR.
BTR, if they take himself a double win today, they're not called the Comeback Kings for nothing.
Nice.
Nice
Galing
nade,
pa si
a nice
JV.
shot connects. Everything is currently hitting the mark.
Salmage sa A1, salmage sila.
The thing is, you're in that building right there.
Pumupush na, kailangan ng points eh. Kailangan nila ng points eh.
Damage from
Yan na.
BTR, now they're closing that gap, and A1 are just
Kailangan ng
pinned down.
points eh.
There's not anything you can really do. Jax is just pinned down.
Ubus
The
ang
nade, the
A1,
boys,
sandwich
everything
eh.
connects, and that's it for A1 to get eliminated in 3rd.
Sa palang kill lang din ng ano, sa palang kill ng Baldos. Eh na, wala na awat talaga.
So good by
Tinagdala talaga kayo. Pagkakaalaman sa Miramar. BTR mo, Baldos.
Was there for the Indonesian side, but the leaders of the PMWI,
Oh, wala
they
pang
just
kailang
don't
isa pa napapatay ng Baldos pala.
stopping. How do they do it? Full
Kanino
squad.
zone?
Another
Lamang ang
game
BTR
of
zone dyan.
wanted
Pwedeng BTR
consistency
zone.
is just running
Gilid ang Baldos eh.
wilder than
Oh, nagarit. Ano, patay kang Martin ka. Ah, BTR oh. BTR oh.
Absolutely.
Naku, lalamang ang BTR dito.
Now they need to try and get himself a little bit more concept over to the side. Not too sure if they're aware of his current position.
BTR, pinuposition ni Luxio.
They're gonna have to push out, and there's already been so much utility
Narinig
used
ba?
by Valdez. There's literally no escape.
Martin, natunaw na.
Nade. What are these nades connected for
Namolotov pa si
BTR? That's
Luxio.
still confirmed onto Martin. No more information being given by that player.
Okay, una sa pack.
Sneaky
BTR. Una sa pack, BTR.
Get some extra loot. Never know, could find a few more nades.
Pagsak si Ryzen kay Zex. Pagsak din si Zex. Kay Luxie.
Sudsy taking a severe beating too. Then you got two more players. Concept on top of that heal.
Ay, nako si Concept. Ang ganda ng backup ni...
Liquid actually is going to be helping
Ganda ng grenade ni Liquid. Tatapusin na. JV na lang. Advance firing na.
This is their game.
Kung ino tinolo. Duelo 4v4.
World Invitational East as against their second win.
Oh, may asim pa. May asim pa.
They are
Wala
truly
eh. Wala yan.
stepping things up in this event Imperium. And the
Magalang ba tayo?
kills too, how they took control is absolutely top tier.
Like, credit to both
Yasin pa.
Valdez and BTR because let's
Both
be
back
fair,
BTR
at one
ngayon,
point,
Baka
they were
pangapat na yan.
fighting against each other and it
Dalawang
seems like they
tigil
both
na.
had the same idea at the same time of, look, we're not really
Kanila-
winning if we
kanila huling
don't
halakak.
continue to fight.
Tangina.
Let's both go for the circle.
May isang game pa, may isang game pa.
And unfortunately, A1 were the
Anjing ang
victims in that
puto.
moment, and when it came
Sit.
down to it in the end, those grenades from BTR were so good. First Martin,